Next time on a very spooky fine dining podcast, the season 1 finale, TGI Fridays the 13th. Oh, you betcha, pineapple's gonna hit the fan as Michael's son Juicy, or in this episode, Juice's son Voorhees, goes on a murderous rampage, and no one is safe. It gets real spooky, it gets real bloody, and not everyone's gonna make it to the end of the episode. Who will live, who will die? Listen to Fine Dining, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America, break down a trip to TGI Fridays based on the atmosphere, the service, and the food, and try not to be scared to death. Hear the thrilling finale of Fine Dining, Wednesday, October 25th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Make your minds up, lefties. Either you hate Thatcher for closing the coal mines, or you hate Sunak for opening one. But you can't do both. I'm Harriet Langley-Swindon, and this is Non-Censored. Hello, and welcome to Non-Censored, the podcast that rounds up the highlights of my very popular, very real, daily radio show. And this week is brought to you once again by men's grooming brand Manscaped. I am, as usual, joined by Producer Martin. Hello, Producer Martin.
I'm here. I'm still alive. No thanks to the cold outside.
Very cold, isn't it, Martin? Terribly cold.
It's been nibbling at my toes, that Jack Frost. Gets closer every year. That's climate change, I suppose, is quite serious. We shouldn't really be joking about that.
It is terrible. I've had to fire up all 3 of my wood-burning stoves. I mean, you just got to look after yourself in this weather.
Yes. I suppose you do. It's self-care, isn't it? Yes.
Now, Martin, it was quite a week, wasn't it? As usual, we just couldn't fit it all in this podcast, could we?
There's so many things that we didn't have time for.
We didn't have time, Martin, for the Matt Hancock interview.
Of course.
Yes, absolutely wonderful. I mean, we spoke to him post I'm a Celebrity. We spoke about all sorts of things. I'm a Celeb, the pandemic diaries, his resignation. But mostly, of course, we talked about the panto he is currently rehearsing in.
Yes, he's doing Dick Whittington as the cat.
It sounds like he's going down very well, though, doesn't it?
Yes, you'd have thought that he'd get booed more than he did, but, actually, everyone got into the fun of the show, and, I think they just forgot about all those dead people.
And that's what Christmas is all about. We also had an exclusive interview with former, future, and maybe current, I haven't checked with the QAnon theories for a while, President Donald Trump, didn't we?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was more like a 20-minute voicemail. We don't put him straight on air anymore. Ofcom had some issues last time.
Oh, of course. I mean, that does explain the 5-minute section about how Ofcom did 9/11.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any credence in that. We probably shouldn't repeat it anymore.
But we did have time for the most important thing, starting with a very heated debate. Keir Starmer versus Michelle Mone. Very, very good, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I thought a fight was going to break out on our hands. I mean, luckily they had a computer screen between them, but still thrilling stuff.
Well, what a debate we have in store for everyone. I'm delighted to be joined once again by Sir Keir Starmer. Hello, Sir Keir.
Hello, Harriet. Thank you for having me back.
But I also have, she's out of the House of Lords. She's trying to clear her name. I am, of course, talking about Michelle Mone. Hello, Michelle.
Hi, Harriet. Nice to see you again.
No,
what's your name
Keir
again?
Starmer,
Sorry?
no need for that.
Sorry.
Michelle, this is Sir Keir. Sir Keir, this is Michelle, just in case you hadn't crossed.
I'm sorry.
Sorry for booing when you were introduced. I've not really done these debates before, so I was getting riled up. You've not heard of me? I'm the leader of the opposition.
It's actually the politician.
Time Magazine's person of the year.
I don't think it was Time.
I don't think it was the Times, Sir Keir. I think we've... This is a problem with last time you came over. It was the Spectator. Yes.
Hard to keep track of all the papers. Lovely to meet you, Michelle.
Now,
thank you.
I wanted to get you two both in together to talk about the House of Lords.
Yes. Boo! Boo! I'm booing it again.
Right, interesting, because Michelle is a Lord in the House of Lords.
Oh, I mean, I'm just a wee girl from Glasgow, and I'm very successful. I worked very hard, and I made a lot of bras, not by hand. And basically, after many years of working very hard, I'm a very successful entrepreneur. And so I was accepted to the House of Lords. And I am taking a wee break at the moment, just for some, admin. I've got some business admin to do.
Okay. And what is the admin exactly that you'll be concentrating on, Michelle, now that you're leaving the House of Lords?
I'm not leaving. I'm just taking a wee break. It's just a wee break,
right? Just
to clear some admin, do some things. We've just got to make sure our profits are all in order, and I just want to make sure everything's going to be clean and tidy for the new year. We've all had a difficult couple of years, and I'm just making sure it's all fine. I really want to get back to that outfit. It's a nice feather boa thing with the red top, and I'm keen to get back. It's a nice place to hang out in London. It's just a wee break over Christmas.
Actually,
I'll be back
I'm going to stop you there. I mean, besides the sort of rather euphemistic term of it just being an admin break, you talk, which I think is very important. You talk about the outfit. We love the outfits in the House of Lords. Sakir, why do you want to get rid of these lovely little outfits that Michelle in particular looks absolutely stunning in it? Absolutely wonderful.
I did try to take it out with me. They wouldn't let me take it. It's very annoying.
Oh, unblevoble.
I think the outfit is it's a clear symbol of how out of touch this institution is. These sort of these noble sounding titles that are handed down that sort of confer privilege or power. I think it's so out of touch.
Can I just take a moment here? I'm a wee girl from Glasgow. I started with a paper round age 10. I've not been handed this on a plate. I was back at work 2 hours after my third daughter was born. I've worked very hard to get there. It's not a question of being handed on a plate. I became a Baroness after working for years and years and years. I'm a wee working class girl. They thought I would go into the co-op and work on a till. But I've not worked in there. I worked in business. I worked my way up, and I've been working in the House of Lords really, really tirelessly to advance my business and to advance this country through my bras.
Well, then why do you have to wear this silly hat and this silly scarf? Why do you have to wear these silly clothes?
I don't see why what I wear makes a difference to you, Kim.
Do you call me Kim?
That's your name, no?
Keir. Keir. You can call me Sir Keir.
I do like Keir, you're right.
Sorry,
thanks, yes. Why can't you just wear sort of clothes that the people will watch and feel like, oh, yeah, they seem like
why can't we replace it with a house
of cool dudes?
I think we should be able to wear whatever we want in the House of Ladies. And that's why I wear that feather boa, and I wear my bras that I've been making. I started Ultimo. It's a popular brand of bra. And I don't see why you're making a comment about what women wear to work.
Michelle, is this what feminism looks like?
This is definitely what feminism looks like. I'm out here working in the House of Lords, tirelessly trying to make my business run, trying to make this country's business run, and trying to do all of that while also looking fabulous. And I don't see why Kim is making this difficult for me.
I'm sorry, I do just have to jump in because I think we'd be remiss to not mention the fact that there have actually been some quite serious allegations levelled against you, Michelle. I was rather expecting Sakir to bring them up.
Dodgy PPE.
Well, see, there we go. Okay, now we're onto the track that I was expecting.
That's what this break is all about. You're trying to clear your name because of the allegations about dodgy PPE. And I've seen films where people have to clear their name. And do you know what bonds them all together? The people clearing their names are criminals.
Oh, dear.
Actually, I've realised I'm thinking of the parole officer, and in the parole officer, he's actually innocent. But
yes, they're often innocent, actually
well, it's like a version of one of those films, but where the person clearing their name is the villain, is the criminal. Imagine that. That's the topsy-turvy world we're living in.
Like the fugitive. So Michelle's like the fugitive, but she's an evil, sexy Harrison Ford.
Yeah, it's like if Tommy Lee Jones... No, because he's the policeman.
Tommy Lee Jones
he's like me.
You're the Tommy Lee Jones.
You're the one-armed man. It's like the one-armed man trying to clear his name when he's the one who did it. It's outrageous.
Michelle, what do you say to that, being the one-armed man in The Fugitive?
I'm definitely not a one-armed man in The Fugitive. Well, with regard to these allegations, obviously there's kind of separate them out a little bit. Like there's something to do with the profits, which obviously I had nothing to do with. It's to do with my husband and someone else he works with. I don't really know. I've got my own business. I did say to my husband at the beginning of COVID, I think it might be a really good idea if you get involved in making some masks. And I initially said to him that the stock that we have decided not to use from Ultimo, so some bras, might work really well as some masks.
Wow.
And that's what I suggested. I know.
That's really clever.
And I said that I would donate those if he thought that that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because we were going to burn our bras, feminism, you know.
Oh, yes,
so
feminism.
What I did was I said, you take these bras, you make some pipita, and then eventually maybe you can make some money from that. But it's nothing to do with me. You know, I wasn't
He might as well have made them out of cobwebs for all the good they did.
My bras are not made of cobwebs. How dare you?
They might as well be for all the lives they saved.
Please, I don't need this.
Somebody putting a little cobweb over their mouth to protect people from PPE. Have you seen a cobweb?
Basically, what I did was I said that to him. And then he said, I think we're on to the right track with these bras over your face to stop the COVIDs. And so I said to him, do you know what? I think I know someone else who might be doing this. I put them in touch. I didn't use connections or anything. Obviously, it's someone I knew from the house of the thingy. You know.
Oh, yes. Funny yes.
But I actually knew him already, you know. I know of him. He's also a businessman.
And Michelle.
And what did he make his mask out of? Nets.
Are we supposed to, when we go to the House of Lords, if we just talk about the stuff in the whatever room with all the boring bits, I just, I can't keep track of that stuff through the day. And so sometimes I pop out just to have a little chat with someone. I'm just a wee girl from Glasgow. And so I pop out to have a wee chat. Just a wee girl from Glasgow. And so I pop out just to have a wee chat over a coffee or a Prosecco. And then it was someone who I met in the House of Lords who knew someone. I think his name's John or Andy or something. I don't know. Matt. Whatever. Anyway, and so I put them in touch. I had nothing to do with it.
Washing your hands of it. You're like Pontius Pilate.
We did do a lot of hand washing, correct. I did do a lot of hand washing.
I wish you'd done more.
We did the hand washing, and I said with the mask and the hand washing, that was going to sort it all out. And the masks they made from Ultimo bras.
Probably all been eaten by moths with all the holes in them.
And it demonstrates a lot of entrepreneurship and also a vision on my part, which I donated my vision to the country at their time of need.
I mean, but Sakir, she makes some good points. And also, if we're being honest, Sakir, didn't we all get a few PPE contracts? I mean, I gave one to my brother-in-law, not Martin, but my other brother-in-law for Christmas, you know?
It's a racket. It's corruption. It's, people handing out contracts to their mates to make bad PPE, and it kills people.
Are you saying my bras are not good quality, Kim?
I'm saying I don't want to put one in my mouth and then think that I'm going to survive a deadly illness.
There are lots of men who'd love to put their bras over my mouth. My bras over their mouth.
This is all taken a bit of a turn. Could I just follow up with another thread of the debate here? Sakir, you have publicly stated that you want to dissolve the House of Lords, but you haven't
abolish it.
You haven't put a time limit on when that might be. Are you ready to commit to the sort of time frame that might take place?
All these sort of details, when's it going to happen? What are we going to replace it with? What are we going to do with the existing Lords? Do we know what the House of Lords is? What procedure are we going to do this by? All these sorts of questions are subject to consultation. So we will make these decisions, when it comes around to perhaps we'll do it immediately. Perhaps we'll do it this afternoon, or perhaps we'll do it in 15 years' time. And perhaps we'll give all the existing Lords a nice farm to run around in. Or perhaps they'll all be hanged.
I'm sorry.
We haven't made these sorts of decisions.
I can't run around a farm in my heels. Please.
Well, we can provide you with some plimsolls. But the current House of Lords is not fit for purpose. Michelle, you name me 3 Lords that have made a net positive contribution to society. I can name you 300 Lords who have made a net negative contribution to society.
I have made a net positive contribution to British society.
With your mouldy old bra masks.
Excuse me, with my bras. Firstly, I do a service to British women and thus to British men as a result of doing a service to British women. Thank you very much.
Right, okay.
Every boob you see in the street is pushed up by a bra that I've designed, thank you.
What about Darth Vader? What about Lord Darth Vader?
He's got an Ultimo bra over his face. That's what he breathes through.
That's very hard.
He may well. But I would argue that he's an example of a lord who made a negative contribution to society. And I can go on and on.
Excuse me, you're a very negative person. I've actually spoken quite a lot to Lord Darth, and he's a lovely, lovely man. He's got a very good business acumen. He's also come from a working class background like me. And we did some great work in 2020 together. He came over to my house in April 2020. It wasn't technically allowed, but, me and Darth were good friends. I like his wife.
Michelle, this is so lovely of you to say, because I think so often, the lords, they get an awfully bad name, especially Lord Darth.
Lord Darth. I mean, honestly, what a babe.
I think it's been well documented that he has been responsible for some terrible crimes, and
I think he's just trying to clear. I understand that he's just trying to clear his name like I am.
Well,
he's my child's godfather.
Yes, the thing is, Michelle, I mean, I have to slightly pick apart some of the things you're saying. Firstly, you talk about your contribution. I mean, you have been accused of making some, all the PPE was duff, basically. It didn't work. So there is that.
Technically, I didn't make the PPE. I just suggested it. It's actually not. The thing is, my name, I know that it's my husband's company. I don't know anything that's going on with that company. But he's not even a director, is he? I think he might be possibly a large shareholder.
Right.
But I don't have any say. I just suggested to him one day, because I knew he was trying to think of a way to help the country. And I said, why don't you use these bras? And innocently, I thought that would help. But unfortunately, it didn't. Now, the thing is, I don't understand why my name's being tainted with this, because obviously Michelle, it's just an idea.
It's sort of, you're sort of talking about how you're sort of very nicely asking people, but you have been accused, and I'd not be doing my job if I didn't bring this up. You have been accused of being,
Harriet.
But it's just, you have been accused of being a bit aggressive with people.
Yeah, you were aggressive with me just now. It made me feel really small.
That's not what we're about on this show.
I have to say, Sir Kim and producer Martin have actually recently become friends.
We've made friends.
Yes.
Did you get that box of Lion bars I sent you in the post, Martin?
It was an absolute treat.
You see, there were some white ones in there as well, because they're sort of limited edition.
I couldn't believe it. I've never received such a present. And
I'm glad.
Excuse me, I don't want to butt in here, but can I just say, is that not corruption?
That's
you giving him some lion bars.
Sending lion bars to my friends.
There's been no quid pro here. It's just two lads sending confectionery to one another.
Just two lads here.
So Kim, are you lobbying Martin?
No, I'm not lobbying. We just hang out.
Lobbying to me.
Martin, do you want to go to the indoor roller coaster next week?
I'd love to.
I'd like to come to that, actually.
You're not invited, Michelle, because you're not my friend. And because you kill people with your shit PPE and you're friends with Darth Vader. Sorry, that was very aggressive, but like I said, I take this debate seriously. And I know sometimes you've got to go hard in order to win a debate.
I don't really understand what's going on here with the whole lordy, whatever thing, and how I've not been allowed in there for a little bit. And, obviously, I've clearly got the backing of the Prime Minister. I sell his wife bras. She may or may not be a shareholder in one of my companies.
Funny that.
We're friends. And so the thing is, we can all be a bit bitchy about all of this stuff, but I've just worked really, really hard. And at some point in 2020, we all had our moments. My finest hour was just a suggestion of using a bra as a mask. Okay.
Well, do you know what? I think that's a lovely note to end on, and rather moving, I thought.
No, we've got to get rid of it. We've got to abolish it.
Thank you, Michelle. And
thank you so much, Harriet. I'll see you on Friday for dinner.
See you on Friday for dinner. And Sir Keir, stay away from the House of Lords.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to make sure it's ground into dust. I'm going to grind its bones to make my bed.
I think
is that
it's
the
bread,
saying?
But I like this turn.
Yeah.
It's very powerful.
Oh, sorry, Kim, what was your job again?
The leader of the opposition.
Leader of the opposition?
The Labour Party. You know the Labour Party. Yeah. Big political party.
I'll look it up, Kim. Thank you.
Yeah, give us a Google and a vote.
I'll give a Google.
This week, Eshaan Akbar came to talk to us about what everyone's talking about and what everyone should be talking about, and that is Meghan and Harry.
If anyone has something to say about this, I think it's Eshaan. And not because of the race thing. The race thing is not what it's just he's got good opinions sometimes. I wish I hadn't have said that.
It's embarrassing. Eshaan Akbar, thank you for joining us for, I think everyone will agree, the most important story of this week, which is, of course, Harry and Meghan. And what we are asking today is, documentaries, are they woke?
Well, Harriet, it's a delight to be here. Thank you once again for having me. I have been cooped up in my room watching the Harry and Meghan documentary, and my analysis of it, and in my response to your question, is documentaries just can't be trusted anymore, can they?
No.
They just cannot be trusted, because they seem to do this thing where they insist on telling us the truth.
Yes.
And frankly, we all know that we live in a post-truth society.
That's the thing, isn't it? You're so right. Truth. Come on, that's very old hat.
I mean, I'm struggling to pick up on this hot take. What you saying that they shouldn't be telling the truth?
I don't know. By all means, tell the truth, but accept that what you're doing isn't particularly. You're just telling the truth. It's boring. We get it. It's the truth. You're sad. Your mother-in-law doesn't like you. I mean, whose mother-in-law likes their daughter-in-law? Let's be honest. I come from an Asian background. This is de rigueur in those households.
Oh, yes.
This isn't a documentary. Yes. Do you know what I mean?
Well, also,
right.
I mean, we've evolved from truth, haven't we? I mean, we've evolved as a society. We don't need truth anymore. We're, more, I think, invested in the more important things,
You're
feelings.
Absolutely right. Because look, if you think, let's go back to Neanderthal times, right? They needed the truth. They needed to know the truth of where the dinosaur is so that they wouldn't get eaten, right? They needed it then.
Yeah.
Societies progress by having fewer truths.
Interesting,
So,
yes.
I don't understand why Netflix are commissioning a documentary where people are telling the truth and then we have to lap it up. I'm sorry, but Harriet, you and I, certainly, we're advanced civilizations.
Yes, we are. I always say this.
We don't need the truth.
I feel that perhaps we do still need the truth.
You might still need the truth, Brendan.
I can't handle the truth.
I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball here, because I think a lot of things in the documentary aren't true at all. I do.
Oh.
I think they are true.
You think they're making it up?
Well, they're being so mean about the media, aren't they? I mean, the media welcomed Meghan with open arms. So I'd argue that they're not even dealing with truths, actually.
To be fair, you're right. I mean, maybe the media did welcome Meghan with open arms, but the arms were very, very, very far away from Meghan. But at least the arms were open.
I think it's more of a case of if a bear were to open you to welcome you with open arms, then it would be quite an aggressive.
If the media didn't like Meghan, would they write about Meghan at all?
There you go.
Exactly.
There you go. Exactly.
If you do a Google search of Meghan, you'll get hundreds and thousands of hits on Google, and that's only because she's popular.
Oh, well, I mean, by that token, you talk a lot about Meghan, don't you, Harriet? So
yes,
you must like her.
No, Martin, come on. Martin, that's very silly. I am broadcasting to the nation. I have a duty to talk about these things. I have a duty.
So
I don't want to talk about Meghan, but I have to.
Also, Martin, it's 2022. Things aren't binary anymore. You can't just like or dislike a person. There's all sorts of shades of grey, different colours.
So true. Nuance.
Nuance. You need to have nuance in this. You can't just say, just because you talk about Meghan all the time, you must like her or you dislike her. Harriet, as she said, has a responsibility to the nation to present at least one side of it vociferously.
Yes, that's what I do.
Right, but facts are not what we want to hear.
No.
And
as Harriet said, there aren't necessarily facts here. They are displaying the truth in their way, but actually we should be able to, as an advanced civilization that Harriet and myself are, cast a criticising iron ear over everything that Meghan in particular has to say.
I have a theory about Meghan. I think she might have been sent by the Russians.
But what? To America to star in Suits?
Yes, I do.
Do you know what? Actually, Harriet, I think you might be right, because I don't think anybody realises this. I read a Reddit thread recently which actually highlights that Meghan, her name, is an acronym.
Stop it.
Meghan actually stands for Making Everything Great by Having a News Story.
Oh, my goodness.
My
What, so her acronym is Megbahans?
I don't even know how acronyms work, but the by doesn't actually feature in the letter.
Yes, come on, Martin.
What about the S? What is news story or one word?
Now Martin, you're disproving the facts now. That's what's happening.
Yeah. Obviously, her name is an acronym.
You've changed your tune, haven't you, Martin?
No, I'm not changing my tune.
Oh, no, facts are good. But then, when Eshaan very clearly lays out quite a devastating fact, which is that her name, the different letters, spell something, then suddenly you're not having it.
I mean, as strange as this is, it's actually probably one of the least or one of the lesser racist theories that I've heard about Meghan. So, I mean, I'm not fully against it.
What's racism got to do with it? What?
Bringing in race once again.
Why must you do this? Why must vegans do this? Why must they bring race into everything all the time?
I'm not I just eat vegan sausages sometimes. It's meat-free Monday, and, Linda McCartney does a good job.
Why won't she eat any other vegan sausages from other people of colour? Why Linda McCartney's? Right? It's not fun, is it?
I'd eat anyone's vegan sausages, but they happen to be...
You'd eat any sausage, would you?
Well, not just any sausage. I'm not just going to pick up a sausage off the ground, am I? This seems like a distraction tactic.
Do you expect the sausage in surrounding areas to be clean and refreshed?
Oh, wait. I know where you're going with this.
Is this rude?
It's not rude. It's just that I realised the other day that I hadn't actually called you and thanked you, Harriet, for your lovely present.
Oh, you are welcome, Eshaan. You are so welcome. Thank you very much for being so kind about it.
I couldn't believe it. When I opened this Manscaped box, I thought to myself, wow, this is something I didn't even realise I needed.
Yes.
Yes, you got with the platinum package. It's got everything I need in time for Christmas because, I want everything below the belt to feel and look amazing.
Eshaan. I'm glad you said this because I also gave a present to Martin. And honestly, Eshaan, he was so weird about it. He was so uncomfortable.
No, I enjoyed the package. It was a perfectly kind thing to do. I told you I liked the smell, but I just don't like talking
you were
about
ashamed of
myself
your balls. To be
Martin. Have you used that Preserve cologne yet?
I've spritzed, if that's what you want to know.
Yeah, it's lovely. It gives you kind of a light, breezy, woodsy feel. It's like I feel like I'm in the woods. It smells so great. My wood in the woods.
I really am what you call a man's woman, And what I do love is just to be sat with two men talking about their balls. That's what I like.
Absolutely. And the thing is you like it especially because of your wonderful gifting that we get things like the body buffer, which is the best loofah I think I've ever used in my life.
Yes.
And I've got this full kit, the Shears 2.0, and it's got everything I need. My nail care is amazing. I've got scissors, clippers, tweezers, everything for that. And as I opened the package, I cannot believe that you were so sweet to add a 20% off discount for people.
Oh, you are welcome. You're
so giving.
Yes. 20% off and free shipping, though, with the code SNOWFLAKES at manscaped.com.
And you don't just have to be a snowflake to use it.
That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use the code SNOWFLAKES. Manscaped, for a perfect gift that will be the holiday's biggest hit.
I wish I could have got 20% off that Meghan documentary, for goodness sake.
Our interview this week was with David Baddiel, a comedian, presenter, screenwriter and author. We had a very, very important chat where I asked all the very, very important questions. David Baddiel, welcome to the show.
Hello, Harriet. How are you?
I am very good, thank you. It's getting to Christmas. I'm getting up my decorations. I'm grand. How about yourself?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, I love Christmas. I don't know if you know this about me. I am Jewish, but nonetheless,
yes.
I really, really like Christmas because I didn't really celebrate
you
it.
Like Christmas? You're a Jewish man who likes Christmas traditions.
Well, I love Christmas traditions. I mean, Jesus, sorry, I said Jesus in a weird way there where I sort of squeaked.
No, yeah.
Jesus isn't really part of the equation. I mean, he's fine. But for me, it's not really about him. Yeah, it's about tinsel and trees and turkey. They're all beginning with T.
I think maybe you should stick Jesus in there somewhere, though. Even if you've got a little figure of Jesus and maybe wrap him in some tinsel. We put him on top of our tree.
Have you?
Actually. Yeah,
Actual Jesus?
Actual Jesus. And we got a little, he's sort of also a fairy, but he it works. You can interpret it either way, really. And we interpret it as Jesus in a dress.
Okay. Well, he is everywhere.
He is everywhere. Now, David, you've recently done a documentary called Jews Don't Count. I guess, tell us about that. Is that like White Men Can't Jump? What's the premise there?
Yeah, I haven't seen White Men Can't Jump. Is that, I should have seen it, obviously, but it's about basketball, right? White Men Can't Jump. Yes,
it's about basketball and about how white men, Woody Harrelson in particular, he can't jump.
Well, he's not good at basketball. Well, I haven't seen it, although here's a scoop for you, and I know you're a journalist. I've played football with Woody Harrelson. Briefly, I have a 7-a-side football team that I play in every Tuesday night, and he very briefly was in London and was a friend of one of these people and asked whether or not he could play football and whether there was a game. And I used to pick him up from a place in Belsize Park and take him to play football. And he could jump because he headed the ball. I saw him do it. But Jews Don't Count isn't quite, it's not as much about basketball about that. In fact, it's almost not at all about basketball.
No basketball.
No, it's about how within the model of identity politics, which is a big thing that I know you're very concerned about.
Yes.
Within all the discussions that are going on at the moment about inclusion and representation and diversity and offence, Jews don't seem to figure in that quite as much as they should. And that's what it's about.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, really what we should be focusing on is the decline of Christianity in the country. You've just admitted that you don't feature Jesus in your Christmas decorations. That, to me, is where we really should be looking at representation.
Yeah, I read, aren't there less Christians now, that came out than there were? Because definitely there were more in the 15th century.
They are a dying breed.
Yeah, I mean, it's taken a while. But certainly less people go to church, less people are burnt at the stake.
Yes.
Less people are, putting Jesus on the top of their Christmas trees. And I see those three things as one, in a continuum.
Less monks. Much less monks.
You don't see them around as much. Actually, when I was younger, you did see more nuns around the place.
Where are the nuns now? The friendly neighbourhood nuns.
Now, here's the thing. In our football team, which I've referred to already, there is a joke that was knocking about, which I think a guy who used to play in my football team called Pete Sinclair, who's a comedy writer, claims to have written. It's a very good joke, I think, which is that he was once in an Indian restaurant and 2 nuns came into that Indian restaurant and he looked up and said to the waiter, "I distinctly ordered 2 nans." And I think that's a good joke, but I'm worried that with the lack of nuns and the decline of Christianity, jokes like that aren't going to happen anymore.
That's something people don't think about, isn't it? Yeah. It's not just the decline of a religion. It's also the decline of jokes relating to that religion.
It's a whole culture.
Yeah.
You know, I think there are children now growing up who may never have seen a monk or a nun, but they would have seen a nan.
That's tragic. I think, I mean, if the Daily Mail are listening to this podcast, they might want to make that into their next headline.
Yeah.
I think that could be really, really important.
Yeah. Too many nans, not enough nuns.
Too many
I
nans,
can see
not
that in the
enough
Mail online.
So I don't want to also, brush over your documentary because it's important. It's a big problem, isn't it, with the left? I mean, the left being very racist.
Do you know any
the right,
Jews,
we're just trying our best.
Harriet, do you know any Jews? Apart from, I know we're talking now, but have you ever met one?
David, some of my best lawyers are Jews.
Right.
So,
okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Do you actually spend any time with them apart from in their offices?
In the corridor?
Do you know any Yiddish?
No.
No.
Yiddish.
Schlep. Have you ever heard that word? No.
No, what's that?
Oi. Schlep means to go a long way, or even just to go over there. Some Jewish people will probably call that a schlep.
Right.
You've never heard that?
Oh,
No?
yes. Well, I thought it was a sort of type of sandwich, but I can see now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, most Jewish things can also be made into a type of sandwich. So
Right, excellent.
it might be some kind of usage.
Mm-hmm.
Oi, have you ever heard anyone say that?
Yes. Oi, you over there, boy.
Yeah, they're more sort of oi.
Oh, oi, you over there, boy.
Yeah. There's one word which I'm not sure about, which is traipse, which also means to walk in a long way. Like someone once said to me that that's definitely a Yiddish word, but I think it isn't. I think it's just an English word.
Why are there so many Jewish words about walking long ways?
Because Jews like to sit in one place.
Right.
And complain about the fact that they have to go over there.
Yeah.
But it's weird because actually, as you probably don't know because I don't think you know much about Jews, but Jews have continually over time had to walk a very long way because they normally get kicked out of somewhere and then they have to walk.
But that was a long time ago now, wasn't it?
Some of it was a long time ago. Some of it was quite recently. What is that you're drinking?
I'm drinking some water from.
It's a really big.
It's from a Wimbledon cup.
Oh, yeah. From the tennis.
I know you're more of a football man.
Yes,
but
I am.
in this house, it's about tennis.
Okay.
Tennis.
Yeah, I'm worried that if you go to Wimbledon, Harriet, and drink that cup, you'd have to go to the toilet too often.
But if I go to Wimbledon, I mean, obviously, I'm going to be having some pink champagne, aren't I?
Okay, in that cup. Or in a...
No, not in that cup. I'm not going to take the cup around with me like some sort of beggar.
Yes, I'm more of a football man. Are you watching the World Cup?
I don't understand it, David. I don't know what's going on with it. I know that there's a lot of, obviously, as a politically minded and conscientious woman, I'm aware of the politics surrounding it. But the actual game itself, I'm a bit bemused by.
Okay.
Are we winning? What's happening?
We've just beaten Senegal 3-0. And you've heard of Senegal? Senegal, you've heard of them? Yeah, it's in Africa.
Right, Senegal.
Yeah.
Senegal. Senegal.
They have a football team, and we beat them 3-0. In the round of 16, I can see you're confused. That means there were 16 teams left in the World Cup. It's a lot of numbers here. We beat them 3-0. And now we're going on to the quarterfinals. It's really just arithmetic. And then there'll be 8 teams. And then we have to play France. I imagine you've been to France.
Yes. I'm not so happy with them at the moment. I'm not going to lie. But yes, I still frequent the chateau when I can.
So you're not happy with them because of them being a bit uppity about Brexit?
Yes, they're trying to ruin Brexit for us, aren't they?
The game is on Saturday. So for you, I imagine the game... the quarter-final between England and France, because of France's slightly churlish attitude towards Britain, England, really, and Brexit, you'll be watching that as a grudge match, won't you?
It's interesting you say this because I could do that. And actually, everyone was getting all, about Qatar. Why are we not applying the same logic to playing against France?
In what way?
Well, in that when we're fighting France, we should be protesting their interference with Brexit.
Right. So you think that France deciding that the trade regulations that are being caused by Brexit, that mean that we can't trade with Europe and that France are
is akin to human rights abuse. Yes.
Yes. Okay. And to men being legally allowed to beat up their wives, which is also law in Qatar. Essentially, you see us as the battered wife of France.
Thank you. Yes, I think that's very, very true. Obviously, I don't think people should beat up their wives. I'm just going to put that out there. I want to make that very clear to my listeners. I think it's not a nice thing to do. But do you know what else isn't nice? Nice?
Sorry, I didn't know if I was supposed to speak. Yeah, what?
Messing up Brexit.
I see. Okay.
Yes, and taking our fish.
Taking our fish, yes. Yeah. So that's true. That's true.
Isn't that a kind of abuse?
Well, actually, there was so you may be aware that, or you may not, I did a football song called Three Lions. And in that, there was a version of that song by a Brexiteer, I think in 2016. And I'm going to struggle to recall the exact line, but the Brexit version of that song, which I think was Brexit's Coming Home, did include the line, "They've stolen all our fish."
Oh, wonderful.
You can see it online. It's a woman who splits herself into two. I mean,
oh my goodness!
Not actually, technologically, and she wears a Union Jack. Yes, they've taken all our fish and money, possibly. I think she says. So fish is a big deal, which is odd. I always think it's a bit odd that British people are so bothered about fish. Because I'm not sure how much fish we actually eat.
Yes, but it's not about that, is it? It's about what's ours. And there are fish. And if you're going to start coming over into our waters, taking our fish and putting your refugees in our waters, it's just the principle of the thing.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you eat a lot of fish?
I eat some fish. I eat a varied and balanced diet. I eat a lot of meat, actually.
Yes.
Awful lot of meat. Big fan of it. Believe it is a core part of a healthy diet.
Right. I'm trying not to eat meat.
Sorry, yes.
Chicken liver, really? That's quite a Jewish thing to eat.
Oh, is it?
I don't know if you know.
Oh, there you see, there you go, saying I don't know any Jewish people. Well, I have a Jewish fridge.
Yeah, you have to chop it. It's called chopped liver. And you eat it with I'm going to use another Jewish word now, matzah. You eat it with that. So when you...
Is that a Jewish fork?
No, that's a Jewish biscuit.
Oh, I say.
It's what Jews eat. You know, at Easter, there's there's a thing that Jews have called Passover.
Yes.
No. Okay.
Yes.
Well, that thing involves us eating this unleavened bread called matzah, and you can eat that with chopped liver. But in a way, the problem, I think, for you is that Jews are eternally refugees. My mum was a refugee. I'm not sure you know this. My mum was a refugee from Nazism and just arrived here when she was a few months old as a baby. My grandparents were also refugees, and they were in fact interned on the Isle of Man, which is something the British government did to Jewish German refugees at the time. And yeah, that makes me not quite as pro as perhaps you are, the idea of putting up the wall to refugees. Can I just pick up on something you said earlier, which is about meat? So my daughter is a vegan, and I am not a vegan, although I do eat quite a lot of plants.
Right.
You know them? They're a type of McDonald's. Yes, they're a type of McDonald's that are made out of plants.
Bastardization, yes.
Yes, no, I like them. I eat about 4 a week, sometimes 5. But I am wondering about doing a documentary about that, about trying to become a vegan in order to help the planet. What do you think about that?
I don't think you should do that, David. I mean, I know you could say that you are, after doing Jews Don't Count, you want to do a documentary in something more contentious and controversial, because so far you've really played it safe. But veganism, that's too much.
Okay.
Who's going to watch that? The hippies and the wokies?
Well, the hippies and the wokies might hate me because, as they often do, because I think I'm going to be saying that I understand that not eat, because I don't think we should eat animals anyway. Yes. I don't think we should. Well, you said yes, but you just earlier said you ate a lot of meat.
Well, I was just being polite.
Okay. So I'm pretty sure, you know all these people, and you'll hate them, who talk about being on the right side of history. You hate those people, don't you?
Well, it depends if they were on the right side of history. Yes. But you're right. I get your point. Yes,
the people on the left.
Those people are very irritating.
Those people. I think there's only one thing in 200 years' time that we can be fairly certain that people will think, and that is that the industrial slaughter of animals is a sort of genocide. And the thing is that I eat animals and I shouldn't. And so I'm thinking about exploring that in a documentary.
Well, good luck to you, but it's a bit distasteful, isn't it? I don't think we really want to think about that. Much better to just enjoy your chopped liver and...
I think it's brilliant that you've moved from chicken liver to chopped liver in the course of this conversation. I think I have inducted you as a Jew by that.
Do you think I'm learning?
Well, about 10 minutes ago, you said, I eat some chicken liver, and now you said, just enjoy your chopped liver. And I felt I was at home.
You're welcome.
I felt I'd come home.
Oh, you're coming home.
Yes, that was the reference I was making.
I got that. I got that, David. And I'm really happy about it. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I hope you enjoy England, France, and that we can beat those bloody European friends.
Yes, please. Well, that was the show, Martin. That was it.
And what a show it was.
Yes.
Oh, it's coming home. It's coming home. This podcast is coming home. If by home you mean the end is coming. It's the end of the podcast.
I don't know what you're talking about, but I think what is important is that people rate and review it. Rate and review our show. Bring more people to the non-censored fold.
5 stars, please. We've been getting some very interesting reviews. I've actually been having some... I think you call it soliciting. Someone's been suggesting that I get in touch for something quite untoward. So really, you can write anything you want in that review. Just try and keep it clean, please. I am a married man.
With thanks to Rosie Holt, Brendan Murphy, Eshaan Akbar, Jos Norris, Isabelle, Farah, Ed Morrish, and special guest David Baddiel, and of course our sponsors Manscaped. We'll be back next week for some more non-censored.